banned by the Football Association, now he's unstoppable. Please subscribe. Episode 21. If you talk about the most famous event in football, fans will name the 5 top leagues in Europe. The Premier League and La Liga are currently the most concerned, commercialized, and highest-level games. Then there's the Bundesliga, which is technically and rhythmic and equally strong. Although the Serie A league is gradually declining, the PhoneGate incident has hit hard. AC Milan and Inter Milan also have enough influence. The remaining League One, Eredivisie, and Portuguese Premier League are slightly less concerned. Tens of thousands of people can still fill stadiums in their home countries. Of course, on top of the leagues of these countries, there is the more notable Champions League. Without the World Cup, the European Championship and other major competitions, the most discussed topic among fans is the Champions League. Those who don't watch the ball may also know which teams have reached the last 4 of the Champions League and who will win the Champions League. But if we talk about the oldest event in modern football, we have to mention the FA Cup. Even before the establishment of the Premier League, the FA Cup winner would have been heavier in Britain. Wembley Stadium, which symbolizes the highest hall of the FA Cup, has also become a dream stage for countless teams. Just like the high school students in the shogunate country, the goal is Chu Xuan. Even later in 2022, the status of the FA Cup is still higher than that of the League Cup. Only one line weaker than the Premier League and the Champions League. Of course, only those Premier League masters at the top will make a choice. For the vast majority of teams below, the FA Cup is the top glory of their dreams. In front of the FA Cup, everyone is equal. From the 8th-tier amateur teams to the Premier League giants, it is possible to compete in the same match. Chu Xuan Stokes Bridge team will also start the outermost qualifying round of the FA Cup in early October. First, the amateur and semi-professional groups fought each other, and then the professional group of the League B, League A and the Championship also joined. As a small club, I don't have the luxury of winning the championship. How is it possible to rush from the bottom of the amateur to the FA Cup final? There may have been miracles in the early days of the FA Cup, but commercial football has made that miracle disappear completely. Their biggest goal is to last a few more rounds, and as long as they can play against professional teams, they will have a chance to be televised. For each match broadcast, the team that is the participating party receives a lot of broadcast fees. Players will also be known more through television. This little income that big clubs can't look at is a huge fortune for small amateur clubs. If you can meet the Premier League team, or even meet the Big 4 giants, that's blood earning. No matter what the game plays, it's a huge topic. So, Steve Adams' goal is also clear, that is, to rush to the 3rd round of the FA Cup as much as possible. Fight Premier League teams. Then try to challenge the giant Goliath with the body of the ordinary little man David. When Steve Adams announced the news in the dressing room, the players were shocked. They are the team at the bottom of the food chain, and any semi-professional team can be cool. How did you make it to lap 3? However, the prestige of head coach Adams is still there, and the players dare not complain. Adam looked around with a sneer, and his heart was clear. Do you think it's impossible? The players didn't speak, it seems that everyone acquiesced. Steve Adams was ready to reprimand the crowd. Chu Xuan, who had always tried to be quiet, stood up and said aloud in his not yet proficient English. Brothers, I think we can try. Huh? Everyone looked at him in unison, their faces confused. Is he serious? Shouldn't he know that every other level, the difference in strength between teams will be quite large? The teammates admired Chu Xuan's courage and recognized Chu Xuan's strength. But they are very realistic and self-aware. We are especially accompanied. Strictly speaking, we are just ordinary workers. Won the pro? With that ability, we are not even too old, and we are still mixed in amateur football. Stokes Bridge Park Steel, the players are mostly over 25 years old. Captain Jeep Thorne is 31 years old, and the central midfielder is basically an old player over 30 years old. The only young people are Chu Xuan, Vardy, and 2 guys promoted by the U18 youth team. They were not without courage before, they were also full of dreams, full of vigor. But the cruel reality slapped them countless times. Expulsion from the team, rejection of trials, injuries, trivial life, loans, family. Whatever the reason, it was like a heavy hammer, smashing them from the clouds to the ground. Until you get stuck in the mud and can't struggle. Playing football is just a spice of their spare time, helping them earn some pocket money. With less than £20 a week, is it worth the effort? The teammates admired Chu Xuan very much, and it was difficult to say these words directly, so as not to hit him. In everyone's opinion, Chu Xuan still has a slight chance to realize the dreams they can't realize. Chu Xuan seemed to understand what everyone was thinking. He took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice. Are you willing? The dream of football is killed by heaven, don't you want to punch it back? Smash on his disgusting face. You X's heavens. Chu Xuan's eyes showed a cold light, his calm and powerful voice was not excited, but it seemed to be striking fiercely in everyone's hearts. Even Steve Adams was stunned. Judging by the reaction of the crowd, his prepared speech may not need to be said. Good guy, Lao Tzu wrote the manuscript last night until 3 o'clock. Episode 22. Perhaps it was Chu Xuan's simple questioning that made everyone rekindle the flame of dreams. Maybe he didn't want to be looked down upon by Chu Xuan, an Oriental. Maybe they also want to take advantage of the time when Chu Xuan and Vardy are in the team to fight last. Perhaps both Vardy and Captain Thorne stood up to support Chu Xuan. In short, everyone finally agreed to the manager's proposal. Goal, FA Cup third round. Fight him M. In the following period, coach Steve Adams was delighted to find that the morale of the team as a whole was high. Usually those old fritters train with hippie smiling faces and pretending. Now each of them is serious and hardworking, training even if they are tired, they will grit their teeth and persevere. Adams knew that several of them had families and children. Usually the pressure at work is already high enough, playing football is just to relax the mood. Now they are under pressure and training desperately. I guess it's just a fight for a breath. Even if their dreams are shattered, learn to fly to the sun Icarus, burn your wings, and try to touch the higher sky. Before the FA Cup, they faced 2 teams in a row in the league, both away. The 2 opponents actually did not attach much importance to Stokes Bridge. Judging from the experience of previous years, they are also 5-5. Then the 2 teams were dumbfounded. Stockton Town 1:5 Stokes Bridge. Foley Quarry 0:3 Stokes Bridge. In 2 consecutive away games, 8 goals were slammed and only 1 conceded. The entire league was shocked. His horror. Did they eat gunpowder? Is it necessary for amateur leagues to be like this? What deep hatred. Be an individual. But who could have imagined that Stokes Bridge's opponent was no longer them? Stokes Bridge's target opponent is a Premier League team. It's a top giant. Ding. Debut in the FA Cup and get dream points, 3,000. FA Cup match day, qualifiers. Eastwood Town FC head coach Harry Bruce stood on the sidelines and looked at the pitch in front of him. Hey, the environment is pretty good, even better than our stadium. Their boss is really willing to invest, spending so much money on the British North End League. The assistant coach said sourly. Fortunately, we met a team in the North League and we can last one more round. Harry Bruce said lightly, as if he had defeated the opponent in front of him. Looking at the players wearing blue and yellow jerseys on the court, his eyes were full of disdain. I heard they have 2 strikers who are very good. Kill all sides before promotion, and completely mute when you rise, are there still few such players? Bruce asked with a smile, his words filled with superiority from the 7th division. If Chu Xuan was here, he might want to laugh. You are 7th, I am 8th, isn't this 50 steps laughing and 100 steps? Everyone is an amateur league, what to play the chain of disdain? It's a pity that Bruce looks relaxed and doesn't know what he is about to encounter. In the 72 minutes of the second half, Harry Bruce stood on the sidelines and stared blankly. In front of his eyes, the Oriental guy wearing the number 13 shirt rushed to the stands, jumped high, and then turned in the air and fell steadily. In one go, the momentum is like 1,000 shots. At the same time as he fell, the full 3,000 fans in the stands shouted in unison. Chu. This is Chu Xuan's signature celebratory action after scoring a goal. With the neat shouts of the fans, it formed a very impactful scene. Of course, there are only 3,000 people now, and the impact is strong but limited. Harry Bruce couldn't imagine how shocking it would be if this young man from the East celebrated so much in a stadium of tens of thousands of people. His eyes moved to the sideline scoreboard blankly, and the 3 o'clock figure was like a sharp knife, piercing his heart. What's wrong with the world? Who exactly is this Oriental? To be honest, Chu Xuan didn't know why he chose such a pompous celebration. He initially celebrated this way, mainly to reintroduce himself to the fans, announce his return as the king, and return to the green field. With Chu Xuan's excellent performance, there were almost heaven-defying world waves in every field. Stokes Bridge's fan base has also surged rapidly, and stands are now completely filled for almost every game. Chu Xuan, a former star of hope, now an unknown Oriental boy, has also become a slightly famous star in Sheffield, England. Every time he hit the world wave and came to the sidelines to celebrate, the fans would burst out in unison, "Chu," the moment he landed. Through several races of practice, such scenes have also become a repertoire of Stokes Bridge. What Chu Xuan didn't know was that the celebratory actions that appeared in his dreams actually came from the top superstars in world football today. Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is currently hot at Manchester United, having recently won the Champions League at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. He himself became the top scorer in the Premier League. Like Messi, the proud son of heaven, the era of soccer's twin stars has begun. And Chu Xuan is still mixed in the amateur league. However, even if Ronaldo's status is high at this time, he has not created such a unique celebratory move. It was not until 5 years later, when Cristiano Ronaldo scored his second goal in the 2013 International Champions Cup in Real Madrid's 3-1 victory over Chelsea, that he first used the move. Unfortunately, his actions were cut off by Chu Xuan 5 years in advance, and the fans shouted CHU instead of SIU. Take it, you. Episode 23. With a 3-0 FA Cup win over Eastwood FC, Stoke Steel also made it to the next round. The incident also caused a stir in the League One. The other teams met the Premier League team and basically wiped out. The hierarchy suppression of the league does exist, and it is not so easy to win. But this level of suppression seems to have no effect on Stoke's Bridge Steel. They were able to win, and it was a 3 o'clock crush. Judging from the scene, Eastwood FC did have strength, once occupied the absolute initiative, completely pressing the other party to fight. But since Stoke's Bridge counter-attack goal, the situation has taken a turn for the worse. At that time, Eastwood FC pressed on the whole line, and Stoke's Bridge broke the ball at the back and passed directly. Jamie Vardy took advantage of his speed and drove straight into the ball, but he was gradually pushed to the touchline by the opposing defender. But Vardy is not alone. He also has a striker partner. Chu Xuan arrived in the back, received a cross from Vardy in the penalty area, and swept into the net. With a 1-goal advantage, Stoke's Bridge continued to play defensive counterattacks. Chu Xuan then gave an assist to Vardy in return, and used a corner kick opportunity to ambush outside the box in the 72nd minute. A world wave that hangs straight into a dead end. Of course, even if the game was wonderful, it didn't make any splash in the FA Cup at all. To put it bluntly, low-level rookie chickens just peck at each other. Whether the other teams paid attention is unclear. Anyway, Stoke Bridge's next opponent in the FA Cup did not pay attention to this game. Through qualifying, Stoke Bridge have reached the FA Cup qualifiers. According to the rules of the FA Cup, only one match is played in each round before the semi-finals. A draw between the two teams will play a playoff round. Therefore, it is full of explosive space, and often plays out to win the weak over the strong. As a result, the composition of the team that broke into the FA Cup qualifying round was also a mess. There are even amateur teams in the 9th division. With Chu Xuan's excellent performance, when they meet the 9th level amateur team, they can basically ensure that they will enter the next round. However, their opponent is the 5th-tier semi-professional league, the strongest team in the English league, Torquay United. For the Torquay United manager, this is a signing. They are almost already thinking about training in the FA Cup, giving the substitutes some chance and focusing on the league to keep the title running. 8th division amateur team? Enough to send substitutes on the field. In contrast, the morale of the Stoke Bridge team was slightly dreary. They also thought that they could pinch soft persimmons in the first few rounds, and then encounter strong enemies later. I didn't expect to directly encounter the strongest opponent I could meet at this stage. Faced with this situation, Steve Adams' speech written by staying up late finally came in handy. Where did you go in that state some time ago? What are your goals? It's only been a few days since you forgot about your goal? What is the goal? Targets those damn Premier League teams. Our opponent is a mighty man on top. Why do you want to fight until round 3? It's not about wrestling with Premier League teams yet. Try to pull them off the horse? If you are really scared by this 5th division team, you should not think about any goals. Anyway, even if you face a Premier League team, you won't even have the courage to fight and surrender directly. Instead of surrendering then, it is better to surrender now. Steve Adams' words also made everyone understand. Indeed, Torquay United are so strong that they have almost half a foot in League 2 and become a professional team. It is equivalent to the cultivator in the refining period in the fantasy novel who challenges the strong of the half-step Yuan baby. The strength of the second substitute team can complete the crush. Everyone also withdrew in the face of this huge gap. But if you think about it, football is not fantasy. Anything can happen on the pitch. Even if the opponent is close to the professional level, there are 11 people playing. There is still a subtle possibility to defeat the opponent. And as long as there is a slight possibility, Chu Xuan and Vardy in front will seize this opportunity in their hands. Torquay, a small town in Devon, southwest England. This is a famous seaside resort town nearby. In the past, tourists from all over the world came. And on this FA Cup match day, the town is full of enthusiastic fans. FA Cup qualifiers, the match between Stoke's Bridge 8th Division team versus Division 5 team Torquay United has begun. There was still no televised broadcast, with only reporters covering the FA Cup covering the sidelines. The match was played at the Plainmoor Stadium, home of Torquay United, which has a capacity of 6,500 spectators. Because the town is close to the sea, Torquay United is nicknamed the Seagull. So the stands are full of seagull-related patterns and slogans, full of momentum. Stoke's Bridge, playing away from home, felt unprecedented pressure. For Vardy, the pitch is already huge. First time facing so many people. It is inevitable that there will be nervousness, lack of concentration, etc. If it weren't for the goalkeeper's excellent play, Stoke's Bridge might have conceded the goal. And Chu Xuan is different from them. He is a player who has seen big scenes. Whether it is the field of the Chinese Super League or the field of the World Youth Championship. He is all in the face of tens of thousands of applause, or tens of thousands of people booing and scolding. Hey, that's only 6,500 people. Small scene. Episode 25. In the 5th Semi-Amateur League, the English Football Council League, Torquay United are the favourites this season. They have been in League 2 at the 4th Division, and even reached League 1 in the 2003-2004 season. It seems to be just one step away from the championship. Unfortunately, after only one season, they were relegated to League 2 in the summer of 2005. Later, it was completely strained, and in the summer of 2006 it fell to the current British Parliamentary Union. Last season, they tried to reach the division, but fell in the promotion playoffs and failed to rush to the level. This season, Torquay United have been working hard to attack the League 2 in an attempt to return to its former glory. Torquay United manager Henry Dunn sat in the dugout, looking like he was in full swing. Playing with such an amateur league team, he has not yet taken it to heart. There was no problem with his tactical arrangement, and the scene was once as he expected. Next, as long as the key ball of the number 5 central defender goes out, past the blocked back, and directly to the striker who is ambushed in the ribs. It can directly stab the opponent's heart and cause chaos. Others just need to outflank it. How to fight how there is. They have been rehearsing this tactic for a long time, and it was originally prepared for the championship opponent. Sorry, level 8 garbage, let you feel the power of the professional team first. Huh? What the heck? Henry Dunn stood up abruptly. Because he got up so quickly, he even went to the canopy above the coach's dugout. Bloody hell. Damn it. He didn't care about the pain in his head, but stared at the court. Just now, when his home guard was about to hand out the ball and hand over the killing move, the Oriental man on the other side suddenly changed direction and ambushed behind him. Dangerous. After. Henry Dunn shouted anxiously, but it was a pity that it was useless for him to shout. The situation on the pitch is changing rapidly, the manager is not playing live football, and even if the players can hear the instructions, it is too late. His words did not fall, but he saw that the tall and handsome Oriental had already gently poked with his long legs. Number 5 central defender kicked empty. This is not the deadliest, the most deadly thing is that the football is instantly stabbed into the big gap behind the back line. The area behind the midline is open. And a figure in a blue and yellow jersey has begun to sprint. Vardy. No offside. In the away fan stand, hundreds of fans who traveled with the team could see it quite clearly. The moment Chu Xuan stole the pass, Vardy had not yet crossed the midline, and this ball was not offside. The linesman also did not raise the flag, but followed Vardy to the bottom line. Hiss. More than 6,000 spectators at Plainmoor Stadium gasped in unison. They suddenly held their breath and fell into extreme tension. I saw Vardy's gun out like a dragon. Grit your teeth and run wild with the ball. In a matter of seconds, he has dribbled to the front of the box. The opposing goalkeeper is a 34-year-old veteran goalkeeper with experience in the League 2 professional league. Although he was also afraid, he maintained a basic calm, lowered his center of gravity, and abandoned the door. Forwards face a single knife ball and often prioritize their own shots. Vardy also has the instinct of a shooter and is obsessed with hitting the goal himself. But he lacks some experience at this time, and he is not the Premier League Golden Boot to score in 11 consecutive Premier League games in the future. Near the line of the penalty area, the pressure from the goalkeeper increased, and Vardy simply got up and aimed at the lower corner of the goal to send a scrub. Thousands of home fans looked nervous, thinking the goal was about to fail. Fortunately, the goalkeeper turned the tide and quickly stretched out a kick to block Vardy's single knife. Oops. Vardy's heart sank. He wasn't calm just now. You should slow down and wait for Chu Xuan. It's over, it's your own pot. If such a God-given opportunity is not seized, they may not have a second chance. The home fans also breathed a sigh of relief. They were about to cheer and celebrate, but they suddenly stopped. The crisis has not yet been resolved. After the football was blocked by the goalkeeper, another blue-yellow figure rushed to the ball in time. The defenders of Torquay United desperately chased back, but they were always half a position behind. Chu Xuan. The visiting fans in the stands were excited. Chu Xuan grabbed the landing point. But at this point he was hitting the perimeter, far from the goal. If you go in with the ball and hit the goal again, 80% will be entangled by the central defender behind. But this is Chu Xuan's second kick in this game. He only had one shot in the first half. Causal law shot, 2/5. 30% probability. But this was not a reason for Chu Xuan to retreat. He must hit the goal, directly 30 meters outside the penalty area. As a former professional striker, wouldn't you shoot without a plug-in? Amusing. Chu Xuan decisively rushed to the ball, stared at the impact of the opposing defender, and hit the ball. Since the plug-in can only guarantee 30% must enter. That's 70% left. Lao Tzu himself is responsible. Bang. The football was bounced away by the goalkeeper, and there was a certain speed, plus Chu Xuan fully exerted his strength and adjusted the angle. This ball is like a cannonball, like the signature shot of a young football player. Tiger shooting. The audience watched the afterimage flash away. Drill into the goal. Hit the net hard. Episode 26. The Plainmoor Stadium was deathly silent. There are also many tourists in this coastal resort town, who look at the sizable course in front of them without feeling that there is anyone inside. Obviously in their own home field, obviously the first and second halves have the advantage, obviously the other party has almost collapsed. Obviously, the opponent's single knife ball was saved. But the only Oriental boy in the audience threw out a long-range shot that exploded at the speed of the ball. The goalkeeper tried to jump over to save, and the defender tried to rush and interfere with Chu Xuan. It's a pity that they all lost in vain. When they looked at the goal, the ball had knocked the net out of shape and bounced it to the ground. Beep. The referee on duty sounded a high-pitched whistle and pointed his finger to the center circle. The goal works. 8th Division Amateur Team Stokesbridge, 1 o'clock, 5th Division Powerhouse Torquay United. After suppressing the away team stands for more than an hour, they finally burst out with energy that did not belong to the home team. The fans who traveled with the team couldn't even believe it. In. We lead. Chu. Bull batch. We lead. The cheers of hundreds of people threw the stadium into a hustle and bustle. The teammates surrounded Chu Xuan excitedly. Oh, I love you so much. Pretty and beautiful. Good. Well played. Barty, who was saved with a single knife, was finally relieved. He is no longer the sinner of the team, and Chu Xuan saved him. Barty rushed up excitedly and hugged his teammates. Torquay United manager Henry Dunn stood on the sidelines, his mouth so tight that he lost his blood. He never understood why the opposing two strikers seemed to be planned. They split up and aimed at the most critical and weakest point of their tactics, hitting with one hit. There is this tactical awareness, this execution, and such technical ability. How could these two guys hang out on the amateur team? Against me, right? Why don't you go to the professional league for tryouts? Henry Dunn felt a little headache on his own. Helplessly shook his head. There is no problem with their own tactics, but they can really blame the central defenders for being too careless and underestimating the enemy. He just passed the safety point to the fullback, and even passed back to the goalkeeper, and soon he will be fine? But Henry Dunn forgot that it was his own tactical task to give the central defender the opportunity to go forward and find a striker. It can only be said that the opponent's two strikers are too strong. After conceding a goal, the morale of the team is boosted. So in the defense, everyone seems to have recovered some physical strength and continue to maintain a solid defense line. Sometimes, changes in morale and mental strength can indeed directly affect combat effectiveness. Torquay United suffered a great humiliation and became more radical and crazy. Stokesbridge, on the other hand, is becoming more and more calm and confident. They hold on to the advantage of one ball. As long as they hold on for another 20 minutes, the victory is theirs. Later, Steve Adams simply replaced two midfielders and replaced them with two defenders. Then he pulled Chu Xuan and Barty back and made up for the midfielder. It is clear from the stands that Stokesbridge has turned into a 6-4-0 formation at this moment. All defend. Everyone cowered in a 30-meter zone. In fact, this is the most effective way to defeat the strong. Any team facing dense defense is a headache, even if the Giants do not have many methods. What's more, the advantage of Torquay United is not in the strikers. They are good at passing control, but they are not good at attacking. As time passed, the scales of victory tilted. Torquay Uni 10, who was originally confident, became angry and corrupted. Some are not opportunities of chance, and they will also choose to try their luck with a kick. And Chu Xuan and they fought hard for the last strength, desperately blocking all passes and shots. 70 minutes, the score remained 0-1. 80 minutes, still 0-1. The time has come to 90 minutes, 3 minutes overtime. The Stokes Bridge fans couldn't believe it. They put their arms around each other's shoulders, sang and danced, and cheered for the team in unison. Chu Xuan was also in the crowd, hugging Mulita, waiting for that moment to come. Beep. 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 The game is over. The FA Cup has once again burst into disappointment. The amateur league team defeated the powerful and professional league level of Torquay United. Vardy's 1,000 miles rush is impressive. But what is even more memorable is the powerful football shot outside Chu Xuan's forbidden area. At that moment, he seemed to be integrated with football. With opponent interference and a changeable football trajectory, even Premier League players can easily kick the ball away. 31 meters. Football on the ground can't score 100%. But Chu Xuan did it. He didn't stop the ball and got straight up. Hit it steadily. The whole stadium went crazy. In the stands, a man wearing glasses held a DV camera and recorded the whole process. He looked at the replay of that goal on DV and couldn't help but smack his lips. It seems that his shooting technique, tactical awareness, positional sense of balance, these numbers are much better than I thought. No, it should have grown a lot. Last time, he didn't have this quality. Could it be that he is still constantly improving and trying to return to his original state? Maybe Jurgen could really try to contact him. Now the team is missing a goal scorer. Episode 27. 1 goal to beat Torquay United, weak to strong. The morale of the team has reached its peak. Before this qualifying round, no one will be optimistic that they can win. Even the spinach plate is a bit outrageous, and Stokes Bridge has odds of a staggering 10.1. Just bet on them to win, and it's a 10x return. Some die-hard community fans at Stokes Bridge went crazy after placing bets. Chu Xuan's goal is worth thousands of dollars, and it is not an exaggeration. Of course, in English football, there are too many examples of such upsets. No matter how beautiful they win, they will not be able to enter the mainstream vision. I'm afraid that most people can't recognize all the teams in addition to the Premier League or even the Championship, let alone the teams below. After the first round of FA Cup qualifying, there are 3 rounds left before we can reach the first round of the main stage. In other words, to challenge the Premier League team, Stokes Bridge needs to win 5 games. Luckily, the second and third rounds of qualifying were played against teams from the 7th Division Premier League. With the strength of Stokes Bridge, it is already possible to crush them head-on. In the end, they reached the 4th round of FA Cup qualification with 2 big wins 3-1, 4 o'clock. Chu Xuan and Vardy's striker duo still shines in the field. In 4 FA Cup matches, Vardy ranks second in the scorers list with 5 goals. Chu Xuan is even more terrifying. Top scorers with 10 goals. This time, Chu Xuan's name finally attracted the attention of the mainstream media and the team. Oh God! Who is this Xuan? 10 goals in 4 games? Currently second place with 5 goals. They are teammates. Number 3 in the top scorer list, I know, was the top scorer in League 2 last season. Only 4 entered this time. It's only been 4 rounds of the FA Cup, and it's a lot of 4 in the FA Cup. 10 balls is indeed a bit perverted. What are you fussing about? This is just a qualifying round, and the real strong teams have not yet entered. Yes, it's all rookie chickens pecking at each other. This is the arrogance from the professional leagues. Many people noticed Chu Xuan and Vardy, and also noticed such exaggerated goal statistics. But they were just used as after-dinner conversations, not as players who were really worth studying. It's just an amateur team, why bother? There are few well-known stars on the FA Cup goalscorer list. Coincidentally, the player who scored the most goals on the FA Cup list in history was none other than the Stokes Bridge striker. P. Jackson, who scored 10 goals in the team's 17-1 win over Oldham Town, became the FA Cup Golden Boot. Every game depends on luck, the gap in relative strength is too large, and it is normal to score more goals. So the FA Cup Golden Boot, the mainstream vision, is really not watched. Everyone is watching Torres, paying attention to Wayne Rooney, watching whether Ronaldo will go to Real Madrid this year. Chu Xuan and Vardy only set off a small wave, but they were ignored in an instant. Stokes Bridge's entire focus is on the FA Cup, and the league in the league is really not suspenseful, basically crushing all the way. Strategic neglect does not mean that the team will underestimate the enemy tactically. They take every game quite seriously. Chu Xuan and Vardy also borrowed league drills to cooperate and sharpen Hua. The power of this Chua connection is also getting stronger and stronger. It's early November, and in late autumn, the league has already played 10 rounds. Stokes Bridge won 10 games. Accumulate 30 points and rank first. The second team is their arch-rival, FC Sheffield, with 21 points, far behind. Chu Xuan has scored a terrifying 21 goals in 10 games. Averages 2.1 goals per game. Efficiency has gone against the sky. Vardy also scored 13 goals and is the second highest scorer. These two double evils turned the entire British North Liga upside down. At one point, it even made other team managers wonder if Stokes Bridge had paid a sky-high price for Premier League players. Otherwise, how could it be so massacred? Steve Adams. Can't you afford to play? But Coach Adams also had something to say. That's right, Chu Xuan and Vardy are very strong, and they also have the strength of top players. They will definitely take off in the future. It won't even be here next season. But at the moment, they are really amateur players and everything is reasonable. In the fourth round of FA Cup qualifying, Stokes Bridge faced another English Commons team. Miners Attribute team from Nottinghamshire, Mansfield Town FC. They are currently in the middle and lower reaches of the British Parliamentary League, which is much weaker than the previous Torquay United. And the game was home to Stokes Bridge, with 3,000 spectators filling the stands and everyone in the community coming to cheer on their home team. As residents of their community, they have been watching Stokes Bridge play small and work in the amateur league. But the fans didn't curse them and look down on them for that. As a community team, every team in it is as distressed as its own child. Even in the 8th division, they are also die-hard supporters. Now, the team has reached the final round of the FA Cup qualification round for the first time and has a chance to enter the FA Cup main stage. The whole community went crazy. However, something has changed on the pitch at the moment. Stokes Bridge lost the ball. And won losses too. The sideline scoreboard shows that Stokes Bridge 0-2 Mansfield. Episode 28. Halftime, home dressing room. The players were a little worried. They knew that Steve Adams usually looked amiable, like Santa Claus. However, if the team does not perform well, he will become Satan. But this time, Steve Adams did not scold, but bowed to everyone. Huh? What's the situation? You guys actually did well, everyone was running aggressively and the tactical play was shown. I conceded 2 goals in the first half and it was actually my fault. Indeed, head coach Adams carefully reviewed the first half. This time it was not the players who underestimated the enemy, but he himself underestimated the enemy. Mansfield, like Torquay United before him, is a League 5th Division team. But their strength is much weaker, equivalent to 0.5 Torquay United. According to the British Council's Union, Mansfield ranks 5th from the bottom in goals per game and 3rd from the bottom in goals conceded per game. Basically, it is repeatedly jumped in the relegation zone. Steve Adams believes that if you can steal the attack in the opening game, take advantage of the opponent's underestimation of the enemy to steal 1 or 2 balls. Next, playing defensive counterattack is much more stable. So he made a lot of arrangements, intending to use the home advantage to attack in the first 5 minutes. There is nothing wrong with this strategy, it is very reasonable. But the manager on the opposite side thinks the same as he does. Boss Mansfield has seen the strength of the opposing team's 2 strikers, Chu Xuan and Vardy. So he also plans to grab the attack and then play defensive counterattack. Counterattack defensively against an amateur league 3 levels below yourself? The opposing manager has given enough respect. After the opening, the 2 sides actually formed several rounds of confrontation. Let the fans scream. Chu Xuan completed 2 high-quality shots, but unfortunately failed to play the right part under the interference of the opposing defender, and he was a millimeter away from the goal. Then came the goal from Mansfield United. With a blitzkrieg, they broke the gates of Stokes Bridge. Home team 0-1 down. Just 3 minutes later, the opponent used the corner again and headed into the net. 0-2. Stokes Bridge was blinded and temporarily contracted the defense until the end of the first half. The first half was my mistake, but don't be discouraged, we still have a way to win. Coach Adams looked at Chu Xuan and Vardy. Because we have the strongest striker combination. That's right. K yeah. So. The head coach paused, waited for everyone to quiet down, and continued, let's continue to attack in the second half. What? In the second half of the game, fans were surprised to find that the home team, which was 2 goals behind, actually pressed forward in formation, ready to attack. Are they crazy and don't concede enough balls? It is estimated that it will be open, take this game to train troops. Indeed, the last win against Torquay United was already very strong, and it is really not easy to get to this point. We can play against a team in the English Council, what else do we ask for? Fans also thought their team was fighting for honor and had ignored the wins and losses. The opposing manager thinks the same way. 2 goals behind, dead defense is also a loss, it's better to come out and fight. Choose to die standing and be a tough guy. In his opinion, as long as the other party is willing to attack out, then he can enter a few more, which is more safe. Of course, before 65 minutes, it is still necessary to firmly defend. After that, their strength declined and they fought back in a big way. So there was a magical scene on the field, and the amateur team actually pressed the semi-professional team to play. In the eyes of others, Stokesbridge is a self-defeating end. The opponent is tightly positioned, even if it is besieged, there is little chance. But in Chu Xuan's eyes, tight positioning? What about funny? So many loopholes. Even if he doesn't use the Forbidden Zone Fox prosthetic eye, he can find a lot of gaps. Now with the phantom shadow, the external of the divine skill running position, the other party's solid direction is a sieve in Chu Xuan's eyes. Just 2 minutes into the second half, the opportunity came. Chu Xuan first ran diagonally, tricking the opponent into moving the center of gravity, and then quickly changed direction, instantly throwing off the opponent. At the same time, Vardy's pass also came sideways. Shot. Bang. Chu Xuan aimed at the far corner and came with a powerful shot. He thought that with it, the ball actually felt pretty good. Even the opposing goalkeeper gave up. As a result, near the far corner, there was a defender who stretched out his leg and blocked the ball from the bottom line. Corner kick. The Mansfield boss breathed a sigh of relief. It's so exciting. Although the ball was blocked, Chu Xuan was not lost. Instead, he will become more and more confident. Causal law shot, 3/5. Then the corner kick was opened, and Chu Xuan grabbed the best landing point in the crowd through the phantom, and the header was rubbed. It's a pity that the opposing defender also jumped to the top, slightly disturbing Chu Xuan, and the top of the ball was high. Causal law shot, 4/5. Next ball. Must enter. Episode 29. Coach Mansfield is glad he made the right decision. After the start of the second half, that amateur team was able to burst into a professional team-like attack. Especially the Eastern striker, like an assassin in the shadows. Most of the time, the mountains are not visible, and even stand in place and touch the fish. But once there is a gap, that guy can appear in the most dangerous place to complete the attack. Just a few minutes into the second half, Coach Mansfield broke out in a cold sweat. He was really a little afraid, and if he did not adopt a steady strategy, he underestimated the enemy and attacked against each other. It's likely to concede a ball. This amateur team can eliminate Torquay United, and sure enough, there are 2 brushes. But unfortunately, no matter how strong your strikers are, the midfield is also at an amateur level. He shook his head and smiled. It is normal for the small universe to suddenly erupt at the beginning of the second half, and even the weakest team can exert some energy. The key is, how long can they play? If you last another 10 minutes at most, you won't be able to hold on, right? That's right, he can already see that the opposing striker is a point-grabbing striker. It's very demanding for their own midfielder. If you don't get support, then the Oriental is an amateur player. The Mansfield team is aware of this. They all remembered the data analysis before the game. Of the 10 goals scored by FA Cup goalscorer Chu Xuan in the qualifying stage, 7 were in the box. 2 of the balls were also on the line of the big penalty area. Only the shot against Torquay United from outside the box exceeded 30 meters. Therefore, according to the tactical arrangement, Chu Xuan was restricted by 2 steps. First, cut off his connection with his teammates, start with the passer, block the passing route, and force the passer to develop to the other side. No matter how flexible Chu Xuan's running position is, he won't flash to the other side of the court at the moment of passing, right? If Chu Xuan didn't get enough passes, he would definitely pull it out a little and close the distance with his teammates. Then he could constantly force Chu Xuan out of the forbidden area. What kind of storm can a striker who grabs points in the box make from 30 meters away? Under the operation of the Mansfield players, Chu Xuan felt that he had fewer and fewer opportunities to get the ball. Sometimes he clearly ran into the gap, but his teammates' pass couldn't survive. Either they were intercepted midway or forced to move to the other side while passing the ball. The only time it reached the box was when the fullback assisted in crosses. Unfortunately, the footwork of his own fullback is somewhat touching, and the ball flies high and far every time. This is being targeted. Chu Xuan quickly discovered the blind spot. Vardy could still receive a few passes, but he was heavily guarded. At this time, Stokes Bridge was still in possession in the middle circle, and the opponent's formation was very stable, and there was no chance at all. Captain Thorne has already encountered obstacles in the way of dribbling forward, and no matter which way he goes to the left or right, he will be plunged deeper into the mud. However, if you pass the ball forward, it is easy to be intercepted by the opponent's back and directly counterattack. What to do? Thorne was just about to turn around and protect the ball, hand it over to the defender and reorganize it. At this moment, Thorne found that Chu Xuan had actually abandoned the forbidden area and rushed directly towards him. However, it is difficult for him to develop outside the box, and passing and breaking through are not his specialty. If it is passed on to Chu Xuan, it may be very dangerous. At the moment of the attack, Thorne couldn't care so much. Chu Xuan asked for the ball, and he passed it over. This is an unconditional trust in one's own comrades. But his pass is easy to break, simply pick it up and pass over the top ball. Bang. Thorne stepped out and over the top, the ball bypassed the opponent's interception and came to the top of Chu Xuan's head. But the other party's tall back reacted quickly and immediately pasted it. Even if Chu Xuan stopped the ball perfectly, it would be difficult to get rid of his defense. You're looking for your own death. The tall, strong white man laughed cruelly at the back of his back. But Chu Xuan's next move was beyond everyone's expectations. He didn't try to stop the ball in his chest and unload it, nor did he think about heading the ball. He met the incoming ball, slammed on the turf, and then jumped high. Head fairy? No, this kid shouldn't be. Steve Adams on the sidelines was stunned. He knew Chu Xuan's character better, and his indomitable posture definitely did not want to ferry. Sure enough, Chu Xuan jumped suddenly in the dull gazes of the people around him, and then his waist exerted strength and reversed his body in the air. Groove? It won't. This is outside the forbidden area. It's coming. Vardy stared, his eyes full of expectation. I saw the moment Chu Xuan completed the reversal, and the right foot suspended in the air, swung his leg sharply, and hit the football fiercely. Barb shot from 27 meters outside the box. For a moment, time seemed to freeze, and Chu Xuan's choice was simply outrageous. Only football in cartoons dares to be so mysterious. Dare to shoot with a barb from that far away? Between the electric flint, the football was exerted with huge energy, turned into a high-altitude guided projectile, and flew towards the goal at speed. The goalkeeper's brain went blank, just instinctively provoking the defense. But he can't touch the football anyway. I saw the football flash, smashed on the inside of the pillar, and bounced into the net. At the same time, Chu Xuan's sense of balance and flexibility played a role, and he was completing the flip and landing steadily. Without even looking back at the football, he rushed straight to the stands and jumped up again to celebrate. The emotions that the audience had suppressed for a long time were completely ignited at this moment. Chu. At this moment, Chu Xuan is the god of Stokes Bridge Stadium. Episode 30. Scouty Ian Greenham from Dortmund sits in the stands. He used DV to clearly record Chu Xuan's barb goal outside the box. With the team trailing 2-0, facing a strong opponent, their lives hang in the balance. Chu Xuan was like a heavenly god, bringing hope to everyone present. Such a wonderful fairy ball, who else? 3,000 fans created the sound of a volcanic eruption, comparable to the sound wave of 30,000 people. Half of the city of Sheffield is trembling. Ian Greenham, who was sitting in the middle of the storm, took a turn in a DV and filmed the fans around him. Everyone fell into madness and even cried with joy. They clapped their hands in unison to the beat of the drums. Boom. Knock knock. Mighty CHU. Boom. Knock knock. Mighty CHU. Boom. Knock knock. Mighty is powerful and extraordinary. In Marvel, Thor is the mighty Thor. Chu Xuan was the omnipotent god in his heart at this time. Community fans in small towns have not seen Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi with their own eyes, and have not seen Rooney and Torres play on the field. But they have already witnessed a world-class goal and witnessed the demeanor of a world superstar. My previous judgment may have been wrong, and Chu Xuan's various abilities are improving. He himself trains hard every day. So, I'll have to watch for a while. Finally Ian Greenham summed up, but his voice was drowned out by loud cheers. He quickly looked up, Stokes Bridge scored again. Or Chu Xuan. After scoring a barb outside the restricted area, Chu Xuan was closely watched. The other party seemed to be frightened. For fear of a momentary negligence, let Chu Xuan complete the world wave. In the face of that kind of opportunity that is not an opportunity, he really dares to jump, really dare to barb. The most important thing is TM in. Taking advantage of the blow suffered by the opponent's period, Stokes Bridge backfield, steal, and launch another fast attack. Chu Xuan pulled out of the restricted area again, and Thorne shoved it straight over. Mansfield's defender panicked, hurriedly followed out to defend, and was pulled out of the penalty area by Chu Xuan. But I never expected that this ball. Chu Xuan did not intend to catch the ball at all. His feet were spread apart, and he leaked cleverly. This time almost fooled all the players on the other side. Nanny. Since Chu Xuan didn't receive the ball, who was the ball passed to? In the gap in the penalty area, another blue and yellow jersey appeared. Vardy. Mansfield's defense line was completely chaotic by Chu Xuan like this. Others swarmed around Vardy. Jamie Vardy took the lead and rushed to the goal with the ball. Even the goalkeeper abandoned the goal, ready to block the angle of the shot. But seeing Vardy raise his foot to fight, but suddenly shake his ankle and send a cross to the center. Empty door. How could such an excellent opportunity be missing Chu Xuan? After he missed the ball, he took advantage of the opponent's slow reaction for half a beat, and he had accelerated to start and came to the vicinity of the penalty spot. Facing an empty goal, he pushed steadily and the football rolled into the net. In just 2 minutes, Stokes Bridge, which was originally 0-2 behind, drew the score to 2-2. The Mansfield team was completely strained at this moment. They kicked a little dazed, even a little desperate. This amateur team, why can't it be killed? The reason why Mansfield failed to make it to the next few seasons was to mix in the semi-amateur league. It is precisely because they do not have a clear goal, they do not twist into a vigorous momentum. In the following minutes, they became more and more chaotic, and the three fronts could not be unified and were seriously disconnected. The manager wanted to make a substitution, but he was a little late. Stokes Bridge was full of momentum and made several threatening attacks. Chu Xuan continuously got the opportunity to shoot, and on the third kick, he rubbed the net in the penalty area. Hat-trick. Chu Xuan completed a hat-trick on a stage like the FA Cup for the first time. The stadium is boiling again. For Mansfield, the tide is gone. In this way, Stokes Bridge used Chu Xuan's hat-trick to complete the big headwind turnover. The first goal sounded the horn of attack. The second clever missed ball crushed the enemy's fighting spirit. The third scrub in the penalty area is the final hit. End the game. Chu Xuan, almost single-handedly, helped the team break into the FA Cup main stage for the first time in history. You know, they're a Tier 8 amateur team. In the past, they were all cannon fodder characters who were eliminated from the qualifiers. Now, under the combination of Chu Xuan and Vardy, the two striker killers, they have gradually appeared in front of the people of the whole country. After the game, Chu Xuan, as a hero of the entire community, already had the treatment of a Premier League star. In addition to countless fans who lined up to request autographs for group photos, there were even reporters from the media for the first time. Chu, hello. I'm a Sheffield Post reporter, can I interview you briefly? No problem. Chu Xuan, who was covered in sweat and his clothes were completely soaked, smiled faintly. Why did you choose a direct barb shot for the first goal when you were behind? At that time, it was safer to pass back to your teammates. Chu Xuan replied with a smile, because our goal is not to lose well, nor to play demeanor. We play to win. We participated in the FA Cup for the championship. At that time, it was only possible to win the game if the deadlock was broken as soon as possible. No matter what the situation, I will always be confident to score as a striker. Chu Xuan's strong confidence made the reporter stunned. He suddenly had the illusion that at the moment he seemed to be on the Champions League final stage, he was interviewing the Champions League MVP.